Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Resistance. We're going to talk about a couple of trades today, and you may notice we didn't upload for a couple of days, and that's because nothing really happened. So we did end up actually taking HCH at the end of the day, so I'll go over that for yesterday. And we ended up closing it in auction today. So we took some right at the end of the day, some in the auction, and closed it this morning in auction. Now you notice there's a bit of a spike, and then it kind of dipped for the rest of the day, which is kind of odd because the way copper was performing, which was actually doing quite well, right? It gapped up, rallied, and it was quite a strong day, 6% for yesterday. And yeah, it was just like, okay, I guess there's a good dip buy there for HCH. And that was pretty much it. We unfortunately didn't take SFR, which did end up being a better trader. And same sort of thing today. It was a gap up, and we bought the end of the day dip on SFR, this time on SFR instead of HCH. So I'll have a quick look at SFR. On the daily, it's hitting some levels, hit some levels today, of course, pulling back, mostly from this sort of this pivot range that we're looking at. So we could open up the 1 minute chart. You guys can see it's quite choppy. You know, once it gaps up, it did a really nice gap up from closing price to today, so 4%. So unfortunately we got HCH instead of SFR. I think SFR would have been better, more leverage, more fun, of course. And yeah, yesterday gapped up 2.8, did way better of a move, and then pulled back. So I probably should have actually bought that instead. That was a nice, I think almost a $1, yeah, just shy of $1 gap. So quite a nice move. So instead, we ended up getting SFR right at the end of the day. It was dipping. It I didn't even notice, but it was kind of dipping below this pivot, the lower day, right at the end of the day. And we bought it just before and just after this wick down. So I didn't see that coming. So wicked nicely. Got a really good entry. I think it's like 1932, 1933 average. And it closed whatever 3 ticks up. Nothing too exciting. But it'd be interesting to see what copper does for the rest of tonight, for tomorrow morning, see if it gaps up. We got HG1, which is the copper futures. Slight pullback, nothing too bad. I mean, it did rally 3.3% in one day, which is huge. Usually any sort of rally, 2% or more, tends to be quite good for copper stocks. So that's what we end up doing, is really just trading HCH and SFR. And that's kind of the reasoning behind it. We also are going to take a look at DMP. This one was painful. This needs to be on my permanent do not trade list. You can see a gap down quite a bit, 16.15, shot down, and then full recovery. And you can guess which side I was on. I was on the short side. Now this is a fairly thinly traded stock, so it doesn't take much to wick it up, wick it down, and yeah, I pretty much got it. It was breaking down below, what was it, 1586, started adding on, it wicked up on very low volumes, and then just it's a matter of cutting as it broke above 1630, and then I didn't cut everything, yeah, and then it popped, spiked, added on short here. As it was coming off, I was basically just trying to get as close to break even as I can. So yeah, I was basically the entire buy volume around here. I was just constantly unloading. You can see how little volume went through, trying to offload, you know, a couple of thousand, bit more than a couple of thousand shares. But it was rough, man. It was rough. And it was totally my fault. Just not respecting the order book and how absolutely thin and dog shit it is. So that was just my fault for being oversized on dominoes. Mind you, I don't think I've traded dominoes. I may have a few years ago, maybe once. There was a huge gap in one direction or another. And yeah, I just didn't respect the order book on this one and went in too big. You might be thinking like even a couple of thousand shares is way too big on this. You know, when there's 100 shares per line, it sometimes dips down to like 50. And it's bad, you know, trying to unload without slippage is brutal. And then you're fighting against other people trying to cover. And, you know, 50 to 100 shares per line, it's fucking terrible. And there's no real reloading either on this stock. It just shoots in one direction. There's no hidden icebergs or anything. I mean, there probably was later on in the day, but in the morning session, it just shot up on fuck all volume. And yeah, it was shit. My fault, my mistake. forever touching this thing. It's just, I got to check the shares on issue on this one, because I suspect it's quite low given how it was trading. And yeah, that's just a real unfortunate mistake. It cost me. Even though I tried getting it to break even, it did end up being a pretty strong red day for me on this one. So the last couple of days, not much in terms of day trade for me. I'm thinking of just switching back into just swing or overnight holds and kind of trading this momentum on lithium, which I probably should have got, because Ganfeng did really well today, plus 8%. Yeah, just shy of 8%. Lithium ETF didn't do too much. I mean, it spiked to 5% plus today and then came back to this 145k level that we've talked about. It's sort of a key level that it broke down before when it was looking bearish. So yeah, it did rally 5%, came down to about 2% for the day, 2.55. So we'll see. We got LTR to look at. LTR is kind of bouncing off this pivot here. Interestingly enough, I was expecting it sort of more around here, which lines up with Vulcan's levels. So Vulcan is still sitting below that 280 level, but it's kind of in range, right? No, it's not in range. My bad. It's well below support. It's well below support. I've kind of stopped watching Vulcan. It's not as interesting as IGO and LTR. They're just better movers on the ASX, I find, especially intraday, mind you. LTR not so much intraday. LTR just for the daily, but IGO for intraday is way more interesting, way more exciting to trade. You can actually make a few ticks here and there, whereas Vulcan's a bit flat. That's more of a swing trader. But yeah, so we'll see how lithium goes, see if it recovers, see what happens on the LIT ETF as well. That'll be important. This is having way more sway than I expected, but given Ganfeng's price action, it wouldn't surprise me if this starts popping. But my interest is more in copper at the moment. It just seems way stronger, and we'll see how this goes. We'll see if SFR ends up continuing to the upside. If this is just going to be an overnight, like if it gaps up $1 or 70, 80 cents, I'm just going to lock that in and then try and find a good entry for the next day, depending on how things go. I'd rather take these overnight holds, which mind you is something that I haven't really done prior to maybe 2025, maybe start of 2025. Something I've started doing more and more often. I feel way more comfortable. You might see a bunch of my trades are just doing really well over one day, and the swings aren't continuing, right? So you probably saw this a lot on lithium, especially Vulcan, and I think LTR as well. When it was, even when it was coming down, we were catching these moves, overnight moves that were green, even though the overall momentum was shit and we were trying to effectively bottom pick at support levels. Yeah, it just, these trades ended up doing really good as overnighters. So, I mean, even here, this bounce here, it doesn't look like much, but still making several ticks on it overnight, which is great. I mean, what's that? That's like an 8-9 tick move overnight on a $3 stock. It's like, okay, cool. So yeah, I'm really happy with sort of the overnight plays that are happening lately, and I'm thinking I might not really do much in terms of day trade stuff, unless obviously there's a big news announcement. But just day-to-day stuff, it seems to be a bit of a challenge at the moment for me. I'm kind of sitting on my hands, waiting for opportunities that aren't really there. Domino's Pizza just hammering me, obviously killing confidence a little bit there, but for me, I'm interested in swings at the moment. And yeah, what else? Earnings season's coming up, and that'll definitely be a lot of intraday action, so keep an eye out for that. So otherwise, guys, have a good one. Peace.